Yeah, that music, the music was so nice, very traditional. And we're now entering the next section. Now, I am my experience with marriage, from where I'm tapping these things, is that I married my own wife from the land. I married my own wife from the land. I did something. I did the marriage proper, everything. I have also conducted marriages for my uncles, for my brothers. I have also conducted, I have also gone through marriage.
Leave it.
My personal son. So that is from where I tap this information, and I am always remaining in touch with resource people on the ground who give me information concerning these issues. Now, we are going to begin looking at the steps. Okay, we are going to begin looking at the steps.
Junior.
What I want you to really understand is that Edison hit a chord in his contribution concerning the fact that we have actually extended. We are now marrying across cultures, across races. And I want us to note something. There is an idea of imposing cultures. Imposing cultures. By imposing cultures, I mean there is a Christian culture that is coming onto us. There is an Islamic culture that was described by Baba here. There are all cultures, the Western cultures, that are very strong, imposing, and even overwhelming on the Mbum cultural understanding. Now, these cultures are not coming in a vacuum. They are coming in language. Because language is what we use to express things, and it is a medium of communication and understanding.
You're muted.
You are muted, sir. Yeah.
Hello, are you getting me now?
Yes, 5 on 5.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, good.
Yes.
All right. So what we are going to go into the steps. But what I was sharing was this. My experience comes from the various marriages I have been involved in, including my own marriage, in which I have been 27 years now. I have a son who just got married, went through the same process that I'm going to describe, a personal son. Now, so I am in contact with a lot of traditionalists who give information concerning our cultural marriage. But what I want us to note here is this, that there is the concept of imposing culture. The imposing culture is a culture that is foreign to Mbum, but that is coming in force on Mbum culture. There is the Christian culture that is imposing. There's the Islamic culture that is imposing. There's the Western culture that is even overwhelming. So I want you to take note of this, but I want you to take most important note in that we are going to discover that these cultures are not just coming in a vacuum. They come in a medium of exchange. That medium of exchange is language. something that either distorts or clarifies meaning. And so we are going to see how some words mean something else in Mbum, and they mean something else in English. And then we are able to now see how, we can pick the real meaning, the intended meaning. When our traditionalists say this, they really mean this. They don't mean what you see. So we are going to try to discover certain things like that. Those are things I tried to study to see how language was used, or language is being used to impose meaning on the concept of marriage. So we are going to discover as we go through the five steps, progressive steps, and then we are going to answer, as we go through each step, we are going to answer the problem question. Okay?
These are the clothes that I was saying that she says that.
All right. So
these are the ones you should think about.
The things right here, I'm not watching it yet. I only watched the following.
Okay.
The first step is step 1, which has to do with Yengwa. Yengwa means trying to meet and identify your wife. Trying to meet or meeting and identifying your wife. Meeting and identifying your wife is one of the most crucial, of course, because it is the beginning of a life union. It is one of the most crucial steps, which is usually guided in our culture. It is guided by those who have already experienced it sometimes, or guided by your parents. So how do you discover your wife? Usually I told my children that your wife is not necessarily your first, your high school girlfriend. Because if I have to, back in the high school, I had girlfriends, and I thought that I will marry them, but they ended up not being my wife. And so your wife is not really that very girl that you really feel for. Why? Because looking for a wife is a critical issue in this culture. Looking for a wife is a critical issue. The first thing you have to do to look for your wife when you are looking for your wife in Mbum culture is to know yourself and know your family. Know yourself and know your family. If you do not know yourself, okay, if you do not know yourself, there is no way you will match somebody to yourself. If you know your family, then you will know somebody who matches you and your family. Now, this is something absurd in these days, just because my son wants a wife and he wants it the way he wants. He doesn't want it the way I want or the way my family wants. But in Mbum culture, we are critical in looking for our wives. You know yourself, know your limitations, know what you can do and what you cannot do, how you behave and how you don't behave. Then you will get a wife in accordance to you, and the wife that will fit your parents, the wife that will fit your family. Now the problem with us is that we do not only look for what will be ours, we look for what will be ours as the life family. The wife also is critical. As the husband is looking for the wife is looking for a husband that will fit her own way of life, her own way of thinking, her own way of reasoning. So when a husband is going to look for a wife, now the question is this. I put it as identifying a wife. Why do I put it as identifying a wife, not identifying a husband? Somebody answer me. Why do I have to put it as identifying a wife, not identifying a husband?
It's the man that is going to marry the woman, not the woman going to marry the man.
Thank you so much. That is clear. The man in Mbum land approaches a woman. Now, if a woman starts approaching you for marriage, just know that either you have overstayed your time of engaging her in marriage, or the wife is frustrated, the girl is frustrated. Okay? So make sure the surety is that it is the man who approaches the woman. It is the turn off when a woman approaches the man. It is a turn off. Now, know the lady that you want to marry. So after knowing yourself and know your family, and you approach a lady, you need to know the lady. How do you know the lady? You know the lady, what she wants. That is courtship. You know what she wants, how she thinks, and so on and so forth. If you engage, you will know your lady and be close. In Mbum culture, you want to be closer to your wife in order to know your wife. In the past, they used to take a very long time just to study a girl before they get married to. It was not an overnight. You know, it became an overnight when people start to go down to Bafia and clay farms and come back and marry the next.
You're muted again.
Sorry. Am I on now?
Yes.
Beautiful. So what I was explaining is that a man needs to go after a woman, and that it is not, in the past, it used to take a lot of time. It used to take a lot of time for you to study your lady you're going to marry to. And it became a kind of thing when people went down to Bafia, got clay farms, got their money, come back home, and then just grab a girl and put in the car and then run away. Before they come back to say, how do we start? They have already gone away. So that probably started putting some things into people's mind against our culture. Now, to know your wife is who? Who is your wife? The family she comes from. The people she is with. Because we married, sometimes we look for a wife according to families. Usually we say, oh, women from this family, people from this family are not really very good. So we want to make a choice. In cultural things, we look for families that within the families, they are well behaved, especially culturally and socially. And so we are looking for a wife. Now, their marriage status. Sometimes you go to look for a wife who was married already to somebody, and they have not refunded, they have not actually clearly cut the divorce. and then you come to marry somebody who is married already. And then you start solving problems. So you must ask the girl and ask other people about the marital status. Sometimes you marry a girl who already has children and she's hiding the children away from you. When you marry, she brings down the children. So you want to be careful culturally to look at the status of the girl. You look for the personality. Who are the parents? Who are the parents? Are the parents living together so that they are able to bring up their children the way culturally Mbum people should be? And so you look for the parents. You ask. Preferably, we want stable homes where the wife and husband are living together. Preferably. That is what Mbum people prefer. Okay? So they marry, they look at the parents. So your parents are important. Important when you are seeking for marriage. Now, where do they live? Where is this girl living? Where is the father living? Where is the mother living? The location of residence is very important. Because in some places, you wouldn't want a wife in some places. You say, okay, I don't want a wife in this place, or I don't want a wife in that place. You understand? Because usually, whenever a girl grew up in Douala, people will not be able to marry that girl because they think that Douala is a place where the girl has learned about affluent life, city life, and will not be able to conduct their life within a cultural marriage. Now, what is important? What is important is that the occupation of the lady you want to marry. What is the status of their occupation? Are they a student? Are they a student? Are they working? Do they have a prospect of being beneficial to your life? Or they only want to come and suck, like people would say? Okay? Usually you look at the occupational status, you look at your wife, you look at the potential. Look at the potential on how the wife will grow up. All of this, we look at it culturally. We used not to look at these things like very keenly in terms of occupation, because we only knew occupation was farming. Okay? We knew occupation was farming. So a girl would come, and we will look for a girl who knows how to farm. And they are demonstrating it by farming in their own village, in their own farms. So we will see it. And then we'll get recommendations concerning the occupational status. If you find a girl who is more, who will not come to do anything and will come to suck your life, who will stay home and will not go to farm and will wait for you to provide for everything, that will always factor in our choosing of a woman, of a lady. That is all about step one. We will now be entering step two. When you finish looking for your wife, when you see and confirm, meaning you have confirmed that this is my wife personally. Okay, you have confirmed that this is my wife personally. Then you go to the next stage. The next stage is step two, which is introduction. Introduction is usually occupied with the word myeni. Okay, but it is actually mreni. They will always ask you, weye jima, weye jita, weye. Usually the best word is mreni, were jima, were jita, were. Because in mreni, that is when you cross hands. Or that timber, you cross hands. Okay? So you go to the next step 2 is introduction, which is Mringni. Now, the first portion of Mringni is that the groom is introducing his fiancée to his parents, which means they already factored stage 1 to see that, okay, we are fine to get married. We are okay. Me and you, we can get married. The next step is step 2, where the groom now begins to introduce the fiancé to his parents. So the groom takes the bride, to be bride, which is fiancé, to his parents. And then he says, he introduces to his parents first, all right, he brings in the bride and shows it to the parents. Hey, this is the girl I want to marry. Mama, this is the girl I want to marry. Then the mother and the father of the groom see the bride. And then they will ask the question, do you know their parents? They will ask the question, do you know their parents? Yes. Where do they come from? What does this girl do? In this stage now, you already have answers because you finished stage 1. You have ready answers because you finished stage 1. Step 2 now is Mringni. In that place now, you are answering the questions now very, very, very swift to your parents. Just because you finished stage 1, you did all your findings. You did everything, and you agreed with the girl that you are going to get married. So step 2 now is now you introduce, the groom introduces to his parents. Now, the next step under this introduction is that the bride will now go to introduce the fiancé to her own parents. Meaning that after the groom has introduced the bride to the fiancé to his parents, the bride, who is the wife, will not take the groom to her own parents and tell her own parents, Mami, Baba Meyengba, Meyendu, Mami, Baba Meyendu. Then she's able to bring them. And then they will ask her, then she begins to narrate. This person is this. Why? Because they have finished step 1. She already has answers because she's finished step 1. And so she introduces the groom to parents. Now, this introduction is not just, it's not simple. So the bride had, in introducing to the parents, has to kashiba. It's not empty-handed introduction. So she gets out a 10,000, a 15,000, a 20,000. I mean, usually it begins from 10,000, the way I've experienced about 7 marriages now in my life. So you bring a 10,000 or above, and then you hand to your mother and tell your mother, Meyengwa, Meyendu. Then your mother says, then you tell it, your mother is watching you, because mothers know when you really are passionate about something. They watch you, how you present it. The first thing is you have finished step 1, so you have material to present. You have a lot of explanation, very clear to do. So the wife presents the groom. The bride presents the groom to her parents. The parents look at it and say, oh, all right, we will think about it. And then they end up saying, all right. mi family ana you family bongbonga. Mbiendu ana yo mbiendu bongbonga. So the parents do their own findings and accept or refuse. Now the groom himself now comes to introduce himself to the fiance's family. Remember that the fiancé, the bride has already introduced to her parents. But the groom himself will come to introduce himself to the girl's family. Then the girl is coming now with him and saying, Mami, Baba, Ayena. Then in this one, the groom also does what we call kashibo. In this particular time, the groom says, okay, Mami Meye Movie presents himself. It's an introduction, it's a simple one, presents himself. They see him. They ask him, you tandale, you mandale, we vufele, we fabake, we chubafe. All of these type of questions were already answered in step 1. And so it's very easy for you to use step 1 because you passed step 1, you will use step 1 in step 2. So you will respond to them and they look at you very keenly. They first of all look at how you look, your physical nature. I didn't move with married young. The next one will be, all right, how you present yourself during this groom introduction to fiance's parent is very, 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 very important. So you don't joke with presentation as a husband, as somebody who is mature. Now, the next step here is groom's family introducing to bride's family. We are still on step 2, which is mringni, introduction. So groom's family introducing to bride's family. Now, this is the last stage of introduction because it's going to form a transition into step 3. So the groom's family comes and meets the bride's family. And now you are able to say that my son has found a wife in your family and wants to marry her. Then they will sit down and say, okay, which of our daughters are you talking about? Which of our daughters? Then you will say, oh, will Labangwashi. Now, they will say, will come now and say, yes, I'm doing she may marry you now. Now, it is not only the father, the parent. It's not only the parent, not only the immediate parents of the bride, but a little extension of the family saying, okay, Uncle Ha, may have te yeka, you then excuse. So it is not only the parents, the father and the mother, but some people who will witness, some uncles, some close people. This last stage of introduction, which is the groom's family introducing to the bride's family. That's a transitioning step, transitioning stage of introduction of Mrini into the third stage. So we are going to go into the third stage now. The third stage is the marriage proper. This is the center of Mbum cultural marriage. The marriage proper is the gigu. That is the most important. The third stage, gigu. Now, how do we do the gigu? Means do. How do we do the gu? How do we do it? Now, there are three models in doing gu in Mbum land, in Mbum culture, right now. Three models. The first model is that women are seen first, then men are seen. Okay? Remember that in step 2, in the transitioning stage, the groom's family was being introduced to the bride's family. It is in that introduction that they informed the groom's family about where to go and handle this marriage issue. Because when you go to the immediate parents probably are not the people of are not the heads of the family, but they are part of the family. So the larger family is what is the family unit that will handle the gu. So that immediate family now introduces you to who to see next to enter into gigu. Now the first model is women are seen first and then men. The second model will be men are seen first, then women. The third model will be men and women seen together or seen separately. Men and women seen separately. That's the third model. What do I mean by see? See is so we want to look at the obligation of seeing. When we talk about seeing, it is the gigu. So we are going to look at the obligations, the requirements to women, and we'll look at the requirements to men. Good enough, we have looked at the three models. Different families have these models. The women may be seen, they may tell you, we want you to see women first before you see men. The second one will be, we want men to be seen first, then you see women. The third one will be, see men and women separately. Now, what are the requirements for women? What are the requirements for men? For women, in Mbum land, right now we have 3 tins of oil. 3 tins means 20 liters. 20 liters of red cooking palm oil. 3 of them. Now, some people may ask for less in accordance to their family size. Some people may ask for more in accordance to their family size. So, what I've experienced across about 3 of the goods that I have been involved now is 3 tins of oil, 3 tins of red palm oil, 2 bags of salt, 2 bags of salt. Then on the women's side, you put 50,000 and above on those things. Some people ask for that. They ask for 50,000 and above on top of those things so that they can share among the women. Remember that this thing of 50,000 used not to be there. There are certain things that used not to be there. They have crept into our court, and it's now being occurring in almost every village. 50,000 and above on top of the women, 3 tins of oil, 2 bags of salt. Then a crate of sweet wine. Sweet wine now is not white stuff. Sweet wine now is soda. Is the brasserie stuff, you call it. Sweet drinks. Okay? So you bring a crate of sweet drinks. So for the women, you want to see the women. If you want to go and see the women, the first thing is to think about is 3 tins of oil and above. Think about it, and above. Then 2 bags of salt, then 50,000, then 1 crate of sweet drinks. That's for women. Okay. For the men, you bring in 30 to 40 liters of palm wine. 30 to 40 liters of palm wine. Okay, that is the bottom line, or that is something a family may ask for. It could be above. Some smaller families will not care, asking for 20 liters. 30 to 40 liters of palm wine, 3 crates of beer. Okay, 3 crates of beer. Some people may ask for 2 crates. Some people may ask for 3 and above. 3 crates of beer, 1 crate of sweet drink, because some men now are drinking sweet drink. 1 crate of sweet drink. And then 100,000 francs and above. 100,000 francs and above. Why I'm saying and above is because very soon you are going to ask me the question when we have a problem question. How much is it? How much do I have to have before I do the right price? So whether the fee. Now, marriage, consummation, ritual. So you want to do the marriage. Under this now, marriage proper doesn't go without the marriage ritual. The marriage consummation ritual takes place, which is very, very the crux of the matter. The marriage proper. That is after you have satisfied the women, you have satisfied the men. They will not say, okay, we now want to enter into the marriage proper. All right? Now, look for 25,000. That is called the pillar fee. The pillar fee is Mba Njimburki. The pillar fee will be 25,000 and above. So some people will put 20,000. Some people will put that, but when you are going now, look for 25,000 and above for the pillar fee. When you have placed the pillar fee, then you have to do the entrance fee for the wine. Then you want to talk to somebody outside to take the wine inside the house. Now you look for somebody in that family who will take the wine inside, or they look for that person and say, meet Ndi to go and bring the wine inside. Then now you go and talk with the outside. They may demand 10,000 from you. They may demand 2,000 from you. They may demand 5,000 from you. So it depends on you talking to Ndi. Okay? So So you go outside, and he brings in the entrance, the wine entrance. You give him the wine entrance fee, and he brings in the wine. The wine is your wine, it's not this wine. But you cannot enter with the wine, the marriage consummation place. So he brings in the wine. Then, in Mbum cultural marriage, what follows is what we know in Western marriage or civil marriage as oath taking. No, we do oath affirmation. We don't do oath taking. Oath affirmation means we tell you the oath and you just affirm it. Okay? We tell you, look, we tell you about this family, we tell you about this marriage, we tell you about what occurs in this family, and you the girl, you affirm. The man, you affirm. If you do this oath affirmation, that is when the family head takes
Some food, sir.
the family head takes their cup, the family cup,
Yeah.
and asks that wine should be poured into that cup. When wine is poured into that cup, the family talks about it, talks about the marriage. You know how the wine is poured into that cup? It is not only poured. The wine is poured to overfilling. The wine is not only poured, it's poured to overfilling. Meaning that you do not pour wine so that it just fills the cup. You pour wine to overflow. You pour wine onto this cup, onto the family's cup until it overflows. When it overflows onto the soil, this constitutes what I describe as marriage spirituality that I will touch in another portion. So you pour the wine, it overflows, and then the father of the family is not necessarily the father of the bride. He takes the cup and gives to the bride and says, give to your husband. Give to your husband to drink. Remember that there is one thing concerning the oath that I want you to know. In Mbum culture, we do not drink two wines. That is what they say. I don't know what they do. They always say, we do not drink two wines. Are you sure this is your real man before we drink from this cup? If you say, yes, this is my man, they give you the cup and say, we do not drink from two cups. I will explain that when we start to handle the problem question. We do not drink from two cups. That is very central to Mbum culture. Okay? So they give you to give to your husband. Your husband drinks from the cup. Right now, when your husband drinks to completion. Meaning that your husband finishes everything from the cup. Now, how many people have drunk from the cup? 3. Now, what kind of cup are you using? The ancestral cup. The family head drinks from the cup, hands to you, the bride. You drink from the cup, hands to the groom. The groom drinks from the cup to finish. And how does the groom hand the cup back? Now, the groom has to hand it with what is called now the cup cleaner. The cup cleaner is something like 10,000, 5,000, 15,000, and above, according to your joy. You put it in the cup to clean the cup, and then you hand back to the family head. This is called the marriage consummation. Okay, this is called the marriage consummation. At this particular stage, the marriage is called now marriage in Mbum culture. Then, when we get now to bride price, is a transition. There is a transition between marriage proper to bride price. Usually, people may say we will want to discuss bride price right away. Right today, many people want to discuss bride price right away. But, you know, we are going, bride price is step 4, so we are going to enter step 4. Now I finished the first 3 steps. Okay, I finished the first 3 steps. The first step is Yengwa. Yengwa is looking for your wife. The second step is Mringni, and I have described four stages of Mringni with a transition into step 3, marriage proper. And I have talked about the 3 models that exist now in Mbum land. And then I have talked about the obligations for women, for men. Then I have described the marriage ritual or the marriage consummation. So we are going to take an interlude from here now before I continue into the last segment.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Peter. The presentation so far has been wonderful. I mean, really enriching. There are lots of things I didn't think about and which have been brought out. Now let's stick to the question. I think the first question here is from Yaje, who says, who's buying things for the women? Maybe I don't know if you want to answer, but the first question comes from Yaje. Says, who's buying the things for the women? Maybe you can enlighten us. Thank you.
Okay, you want me to answer the question quickly?
Yes,
Yes, possibly. Probably we can. Let's just take one question at a time, and then if you go on quickly, probably we would gain time. Thank you.
Yes, it is the groom buying everything because the groom is marrying. The bride is not buying, the groom is buying. Now that question is very technical because in many cases, in these days, the bride usually is helping the groom behind. But I tell you, you will never appear in Mbum cultural marriage and say, my wife helped me to do anything in marriage. What you do is, anything you receive is coming, whether from who nobody knows, but it is the groom that is buying all these things, the groom and the groom's family.
Good. Follow-up question. This may be personal. It doesn't come from anybody. Now, there are people who want the shortcuts. They want to get the things, not necessarily the sweet wine, not necessarily they want to convert everything and say, oh, we have an envelope that embodies, that carries everything. Is it possible to do that so that instead of wasting time in wasting time to go buy wine, to buy this, to go buy that, can it be converted to money, put in an envelope and say, we have brought a lump sum to handle this issue? That's from me. Thank you.
Right. In some families now, I have seen two. They have decided to take a lump sum. But you may take lump sum for everything. But you cannot take lump sum for consummation of marriage. You can take lump sum for requirements for women, take lump sum for requirements for men that you will share to them. They take it and say, okay, we are going to share to our people. We are the ones who know our people. Some are here, some are outside of the village. So we want to take a lump sum for men. We want to take a lump sum for women. And realize something. The marriage consummation ritual, if it is not performed, then the marriage culturally has not taken place.
Right. Let's move on to the second question. The second question: what is the pillar for? You talked about pillar fee. What is it for? Maybe a quick question.
I didn't hear where you were breaking.
What is the pillar fee for? You talked about a pillar fee. What is it for?
It's called Murki.
Exactly.
Murki.
What is it for?
Murki. In Mbum. It means the bottom of the pillar.
Yeah, what is it for? That's the question. What is it for?
Oh, that is the administrative fee. Okay? That Murki goes directly to, okay, now let me explain something about Murki. Murki is a place where the only the family head sends hand to that Murki. In the past, it used to be a small special place made under the pillar in that house. Only the family head sends his hand there to pick something. Anybody who sends his hand there can only keep.
Okay.
Only the family head sends his hand there to pick something. So now realize something. So what is it for? It's for the family head. When he sends his hand there, he's going to pick up something. It is for administrative logistics.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I think Bonjo has a question. Maybe we should give him the microphone. Bonjo, please. Can you take the microphone, please? Thank you.
Okay, very time for me, Chanio.
Very fra.
Melavene, me gusta are ringbambo ke mzihamo alimbo me we ke one entrance fee. Ibong nang wering amba ke alimbo me we ba kula abo ke ba libaraga. Aka ke lomin jimaro mena mbipsi jolane wine cleaner na fong. Me rone tem ke ne so sindong alana no tem mbipsi tam for me we ka dogon tomi. Very.
No, me alibarane cup cleaner. Now, cup cleaner, huh? I'm when Susan Donglang or I'm Bass Susan Dong.
Very.
Now, Mronembe, Mrochachi Vonembe. Where you are?
Very.
I get on a Mrogu. Right? Mrochaba no way. But party to the meaning about Mroche, 10 liters, I would have for Anna. Rosia be for him be she could pass him 10 liters, about 5 liters. I should find him let. Okay, low bin about 10 liters. So, you don't be when you don't be involved with you to the Fiana. Oring, if I Fiana, I'll dimbo one gene. Yendi, where Yendi Kevin Roland, Yendi Kevin Roland, as you wait.
Very.
I hope that we're getting clarifications, and I hope that everybody is feeling good with the explanations of time for me. Me kwa zine yaje ke tur question mo. Kwa yaje about your tur question absorption. Simo about pa microphone. Absorption question. Yaje o.
All right, burial. Me mute. It's a rhetorical question and go see. Pardon me. Yeah, the question that I had, and I will ask in English. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mbum is not very good. The second question that I had is, what if the bride and the groom cannot be there physically for the marriage consummation? Because you said without that, it's not considered like you guys are married. But we know some of us are out here and we cannot necessarily make it home sometimes. So what happens?
Okay, my son was here and he didn't make it home last month. So a family member has to represent him in front of the family head conducting the marriage, so that that family member represents him, takes the cup, does the same like as if he was here. Remember that even when he has not gone home, he needs to be known by the family members. Those who are supposed to know him are supposed to know him before they come to consummate the marriage. So it is his task to make himself known, whether by audios or by videos or by what, before the actual consummation of the marriage. Now at the consummation, it is the brother standing there when everybody already in the house has already been known and they know him.
All right, are we done?
Done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Do you have a follow-up question, or you just want to end there, Yaji?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I think next we
I have a question. I have a question.
I don't know.
I have a question.
Yeah, we have in Phoenix, Hot, who is next, absolutely. And then there was also Vera. I think thereafter we may have to see if we can take one more, then we pursue with the next part of the questioning, and probably, yeah. So we have in Phoenix, I'm not sure. Yes, go ahead, please.
In Phoenix, I'm sorry, this is Wemje Ojilia.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
This is Wemje Ojilia. My phone, I don't know why it's giving me the phone type instead of my name.
No.
Me chani time for me. Question meta bibshiwane butcher fanimbang rona ba 100,000. It include you chocolate sang listener. Fang we hamba fang we haye bacha 10,000. Young we have 20,000. Young chinafake is out of it. Is it included or it's different? Do me witness is not olane. Do fa tang we hamba do fa tang we ham this one the fa tang we hamba. Thank you.
Okay. Usually she discriminate a fambane a estimate if a bush will be shine. Abi young we ha. Look, according to the models, the three models, did they say see the men? Men have two team in that say nana catch him about mosin. Wherefore we remember Teddy we ye so Jibel we are eloko 1,000, or loco 10,000, or loco 50,000. Is it what? It depends on where she ninja moshi the yode. Now me la summary ine me la estimate ne wakashi duanki kuse la wakashi cash ma wakashi 100,000 ne adu bichi wene afa everything they will your gap about lane mpamba se they will lane ko no si 100,000 mina I would not show you no see aga lane 2,000 bane increase it me for estimate oga lane ke la bi moses bane abe ke bi moses then I wanted 200,000 mabo. Me for that estimate. She will got 3 mabo. I do give her.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm good. That's fine.
I have a question.
Martha.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
The tribesman here, I'm trying to ask a question. I don't know if questions are
Yeah, we have a few minutes more for questions. So I'm not sure, maybe time for me will take just about one minute to answer some of those questions. We got 4 hands up already. I see here, Osman, we had already taken your question. I see Mary Gije, I see Mushing Willie, and I see Laura Tinzo. If you take 3 questions, I think we will just have to continue with the rest of the program, and then thereafter we'll take many more questions. So please, can we start with Mary Gije, please? I'm not sure.
Well, it's in Galacha on Mary Gija's phone.
Okay, perfect. You're welcome.
Yes, I wanted to ask because he talked of. I wanted to get the part of the funds and the sub funds when they too are interested in women and they want to get married. Do they also go through the same processes? And again, if we want to look at the culture very well, also in those days there were times when some people could only meet their in-laws when they found a woman pregnant, and they will just say they want to marry the woman, the child still in the womb, and if the child came out and was a girl, they still honored his request. Also, based on his conduct and interaction with the in-laws subsequently, I don't know whether that could also add to the culture as it used to be, to make it so a bit complete. I know all what he said is very obtained in the modern times. That's my question.
Okay, your first question is, do funds or sub-chiefs perform the same consummation?
Yes, in a polygamous setup. Okay,
good. Please reserve that question and ask me again at the end of the show.
Okay, thank you.
The next question is, you are clarifying the fact that somebody is pregnant and coming to get married, right?
Yeah.
What do we do? Okay.
Yeah.
What do we do culturally? Okay. These questions I will answer at the end of the segment. Anybody has another question?
I do, sir. I do have a question to ask.
Yes, I had a question.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm going by the name of the tribesman. I would like to ask a question, or a number of questions.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
The tribesman, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the presentation is marvelous. It's really good. Yeah, he presented a lot of things about our culture. So I fell from the same culture, like everyone here. I'm going to throw in a number of questions here, and you may answer them all or not. One, intermarriages. You spoke a little bit about intermarriages, which means marrying out of the Mbum culture, right? And what I want to know from you is whether or not we are saying that we should have intermarriages with other cultures or not. That's one question. What about the Mbum culture vis-a-vis the other cultures from the grassland? I don't think that we differ that much. I think we are the same like most of the people from the other cultures in the Northwest, if I may specify, or also as they call it today. What do you think? How does the Mbum culture fit into the bigger picture? What about the dowry? Okay, when I was growing up, I'm of age. When I was growing up, the dowry was a token. It was not a price on whether the wife is educated, the wife is light color, or the wife is this and that. It was not that. It was a token. And my father, who is from there, would say that they will come and put, I don't know whether it was 1 kobo or it was 1 pence or it was 1 whatever as a dowry. That is what it used to be. All right. So I just want you to clarify me on that as well. Dowry as a token. And our system, the way you presented it, is very patriarchal. True or false? It's very true. It's very patriarchal. It is the man decide to marry a woman. I don't know whether the woman decide to marry a man is taken into context as well. And if we take all of that and put it together, what about the culture? You mentioned a little bit about the culture of somebody coming from Douala and then take the wife and disappear with the wife. We used to do that in our culture. In modern times, they call it wife kidnapping. It was not wife kidnapping. Everything was done, and on the day, the market day, then the woman would go to the market and then she would be kidnapped. It was voluntary, and people tried to make it look like we were just going around and kidnapping people. Can you do a little bit on that culture of kidnapping or not kidnapping? And I think those are my questions. The original tribesman. Thank you very much. It was a good
Okay, thank you.
All right, good. I'm just going to call.
I go on them. Thank you very much for those questions.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, just 1 minute, just before you go on. Thanks so much. I do appreciate as the questions are coming in. We're trying to jot down these questions. Just like once you put it on the charts there, we'll be able to get the questions. Just to recalibrate our discourse for today, this afternoon or evening, intermarriages, I'm sure that we will do that probably the next session. We will deal purely with intermarriages. Maybe we would like to tilt away from there a little bit, tribesman. I do appreciate your understanding. And so down for me, you can go ahead with the rest of the questions. And thereafter, we may have to take one last person, and then we jump into the last part of this discourse.
Thank you for giving that direction. The first question is, should we marry from other tribes or from other races? We have no choice. We have no choice. The world is changing. The world is moving. It's not static. Culture is evolving. We must marry from other cultures. Okay. So that's the answer. The issue about the token, the reference to token and the bride price, I'm going to cover it on step 4. So I'm going to cover that. Then the issue of patriarchal leadership or patriarchal culture. It is our identity. It's our nature. It is our culture that we are patriarchal. Okay? It may not be socially understood by others, but it is understood by us that we are patriarchal. And we are explaining the culture to people. However, culture is also evolving and things are changing. So we are going to consider that when we start to dig into interracial, intertribal marriages, when we start discussing the other segments. Now you hit something on holy kidnapping. Holy kidnapping, that is what I write about. I call holy kidnapping. Holy kidnapping was that idea when people just come and sweep up a girl and then dash with the girl and then go and stay and blah, blah. Right now, people are going around and suing people for kidnapping their daughters. All right? Because one, they don't know them. They have not introduced themselves in any way. Okay? There has not been any young wife, there has not been any mringni, and they have just picked up a wife like that. So, holy kidnapping is something that is uncultural. It's not our culture, but it is cultural in that we used to organize it so well, so nice, and it was an occasion. It was delicious time. I'm telling you, when you wanted to imagine that we are going across another village to pick up a girl. It was an occasion. We wanted to, when we go to pick up a girl from D is like a chief, a fun at that time. So it was sweet.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
Let's go to the next thing, MC.
Yeah, so we may like to get a question from Mr. Mushin, and then thereafter we move to an interlude, a musical interlude, and then you get to the next, the last phase of the discourse. So Mr. Mushin, you have the floor.
Mushin, you have the floor. Unmute so we can hear you.
You are muted. Can you unmute, please?
Unmute so we can hear you, Mushin.
Is it okay?
Yeah, okay now.
Yeah, it's quite a delight to participate in this program, and I would like to thank Nformi very much for dishing us this wonderful bar and jamsu of the Mbum. I think that I'm not just going to ask the question now because I'm still jotting down my questions. I would like to feel that we are about the Mbum culture in its origin, the way it's used to be, and it's going to help us know more about this. Probably, I just want to thank all those who are there, Nelson and Peter, you for being there. And I think that it's been initiative which needs to continue with. I just wanted to, say I'm so glad about this. Thank you guys very much.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Mushin. So we will come back in 2 minutes. We're going to take a musical break, and I will just want everyone to stand and dance to this wonderful traditional music that will be coming on. Give us a break, and we'll take a break in 2 minutes time, 3 minutes. I'm sure that Nformi must have taken a break as well.
I have an observation, please.
Yes, go ahead, please. Just go ahead for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Henry.
Yes, please. Go ahead, please.
I've listened to Nformi, his brilliant presentation. And as the president of Mbum Cultural and Development Association, I think he has made a brilliant presentation. So when we go into marriages traditional, I thought he would talk about the kwangu, which is ring, the nchugu before going to the mboki, which is that pillar. That money is always kept there, so that when the family head is going for other marriages, money there. So I listened keenly and should have talked about Kwangu, the Nchugu, and the Mbuki, which of course that takes care of our traditional marriages. So that the anytime a boy from the family sees a girl out there, take the Kwangu, the Nchugu, and the Mbuki to take care of this on the other side. So, in fact, Nformi is very versed in the culture of the Mbum, and I'm happy for his presentation. And I think that many Mbum people will learn from all this presentation, because we have marriages. You don't get married to only the husband, you get married to the family. So the two families always join together. So you don't come and start saying that this is my wife. We take your wife as belonging to that family where you are married to, and the two families join. So it's a very great thing that we brought this today and we're talking about it. I want to thank him for that, and all the people who are contributing to know that that is how the Mbum people go into marriage, and that is how they pay their bride price. They call it goo because it's a thing that doesn't end. You know, it lasts. If a man says, "Okay, you must pay my bride price, my cap today, all," the family will ask, "If we pay all today, it means that when there's a death, that way we don't come." They know you can stretch it; it never ends, and that is what we call in limbo goo. So the goo is there; it lasts forever. So when you get married, we don't drink twice top of a girl. Brings a sweeto, you take the wine and say, "Okay, we're drinking this. We will not drink it tomorrow from another person." So in Mbum land, divorce is like a taboo because when you are married, stay with your husband, that kind of situation. So these are the traditional aspects that we have in Mbum land that today are not respecting because they want to take white man's type of divorce has become some kind of situation. So it's, we follow our tradition. You see that there will never be a divorce marriages because that oath, that covenant, which is taken when you drink and give and show that this is my husband, always there. And family head says, "I don't drink twice." The same woman or the same girl that I'm giving out of marriage. Thank you.